going in a minute, going into the room. Okay, I forgot we were streaming. Okay. All right, we'll be starting in a minute. 2 minutes. I guess you can hear me putting ice cubes into my whiskey. Can't trade without whiskey now. Sound should be fine now, Chantal. I was far away. How's it now? I was fooling around with my coffee, as usual. I'm always fooling around with my coffee. All right, so we're going to get started. Let's go into the room. Welcome to the 20-year bond auction. This is the 10-minute trades trade room. My name is Lee Goldstein. I'm the trading director for 10-minute trades. Remember, all the trades we discuss for educational purposes. It is possible to lose money trading futures. All right, so make sure that you're on the contract ZB 921 if you're trading on NinjaTrader, ZB 921. On my right chart, I'm also watching, not trading, but I'm watching the ZN. The ZN seems to have a similar reaction to the ZB. We've been trading the ZB for years on these bond auctions. So I'm comfortable trading the ZB. This is a family money trade, but bonds, they've been a little bit challenged lately, so I'm not going to be trading it huge. The 20-year has been doing better than most of the other bond auctions. I missed last month because I couldn't be here. And it actually had a pretty nice move, if I remember correctly. Here's a video. It's always nice to know how to use replay, because with replay, if you miss a trade and you forget to record the market, you can go back and make believe you're trading the trade again. So replay is a great feature. When it works properly. Sometimes on very low volume replays, but see how the move, what I'm able to see was that it had a very large burst, okay, last month. That's a nice move. Hopefully you can see it, see the candle bursting up. Boom, goes straight up. So that was a nice move. And the month before was in May. That was June. And we have a very specific time that we enter into this trade also. 13:01:30 is our activation time. $13:01:30. So our orders show up on the chart. That's what those X's are. And I want to thank the folks that are watching us on YouTube. If a couple of you would give us a like, we'd really appreciate that. If you like the stream, just for its educational purposes, that would be nice. And you could see that in May, it took a while to fill. We use 60-second official cancel, I believe, on this one. And again, not a bad move, actually, but it did reverse, it chopped. It chopped quite a bit. And I tried to grab a couple of extra ticks, and it just kept reversing on me. I couldn't get there. But a profitable trade. So 20-year, 2 months in a row, moving pretty well. Then you look at April. Again, 13:01:30 is our trigger time. So that's our activation time. Our orders go on the charts. So the bond auctions are unusual in terms of time because they usually don't trigger immediately. So if you're, a second off in sync, it really doesn't affect the bond trade like it affects a data trade, like CPI or oil or gas, those types of trades. Totally different, the way they deal with time and how important time is to those types of trades. Extremely different scenario. So very quiet in April. It really was pretty dull report. It filled and then went against us. Wasn't really a great mover. It was just very quiet. And sometimes the bond trades, that's what they do. So that one was not a winner. And let's look at March. I don't drink at all. Truth. I don't drink. I never was big on alcohol. Not an alcohol person. Now, give me a good shot of heroin and I'm fine. I'm good for a couple hours after that. 1301.30 is our entry. Bingo, there's the orders on the chart. So another kind of dull. Usually the bond trades, they either burst or they're dull. There's almost not very often a middle ground. Burst or dull. And when they're dull, the hardest thing is to get out because there's so much liquidity, or there's a lot of liquidity on bonds. Sometimes you can move your orders to where the target, where the price seems to be, and it won't always fill you because it's got to fill other people ahead of you. So bonds can sometimes be tricky. But like I said, they have been a little bit challenged. So I wouldn't trade them big right now. I would never use a 4-tick bracket on this trademark because that's something you would never know. When I designed this trade, I used a 3-tick bracket, and that's what I'll trade it with. You're just talking an anomaly. Last week was an anomaly. There's no testing to show that a 4-tick bracket makes a difference on these trades. Not at this moment in time. You're always going to have trades that you can say exactly what you're saying. Last week's trade would have been great with a 20-tick bracket instead of a 10. It's the nature of this type of trading. But that's only an anomaly unless you've done 6 tests in a row and 4 of the 6 are agreeing with that statement. So that's the difference between an anomaly and changing a setting. And believe me, I noticed that last week a 4-tick bracket made the difference. But one trade does not a new setup make. That's really, really key info. There's always going to be trades that do that. But again, if all of a sudden you're seeing it week after week after week, then you've got to really take a long, hard look at your setup and be open-minded enough to change it if that's what it requires. This report is also relatively new. I think that it's a little bit over a year old. I'm going to trade it live. It's a family. I still consider the bond trades family trades. I just think that they are family trades that are struggling a little bit. So, normally I'm trading the family trades, with a decent amount of contracts. This, I'm just trading 2 contracts. I want to make sure that the bond trades are not really slowing down on a regular basis. But still, the last 2 have been good. It was the 30-year bond trade that was the 4-tick last week. Different instrument being auctioned. So, it doesn't really have a relation to this, other than the fact that it was frustrating. The biggest deal about last week was the frustration. It almost seemed like we were getting filled early rather than the bracket was wrong. But it seemed like the news had just come out at the second we got filled. I'm going to go to the website time.is. Everyone that's in the room, the website is called time.is, and the idea is I'm going there to put my computer in sync. We always want to be in sync when we're trading events, always. You don't want to trade events if you're not in proper time sync, okay? If you can't get in sync, the very fast trades, I'm not going to say that if my sync was off that I would skip a WASD trade. I probably would still trade it, even if my sync was off. But if it was 2 seconds off, I might skip it. If it's, tenths of a second, I'm not going to be happy. I don't like to trade if I'm not in sync. Now, if you're in the trade room, and a lot of you are, there's a folder at the top of your taskbar. Inside that folder is a program called D4 Time 531. That's a program called Dimension 4 that if you go to the website time.is and it never puts you in sync, or you want a backup method of getting in sync, Dimension 4 is a backup program for installing on your computer, and it'll put you in sync. There's also another very nice tool called the atomic clock. And if you Google the atomic clock, time.gov, whoops, that might not be the right site. Let me make sure. Nope, that's the government time. Let's look for atomic clock, not time.is. I don't know why they make it so you have to find it. Let's see. Atomic clock NASA. I'll find it for you, and what I'll do is I'll put it in the trade room. There's a site, and for some reason, let me just go down a little bit further. That's not the one that I use, so I'll find it and I'll put a link. I'll get a link to it on our website, because I'm using it on a desktop, so I don't want the app. I don't want the app, because the app, that's not going to do anything for us on the website, on a website. So, and I don't want to show you anything that I'm not 128 billion% is the right one. So I'll find it. I'll find it. I have it on my computer, but it's called Atomic Clock. Atomic Clock, and it's not the widget. It's just a downloadable program for your website, for your desktop. And I think I know what I did wrong. So let me just do one more thing. See if I can find it. Give me one more second. If I find it, I'll show you. But if time.is doesn't get you in sync, Atomic Clock is even easier. It's even easier than using whatchamacallit, Dimension 4. But for some reason, when I Google it today, it's just not showing up. So I'll get it for next time. It's a little downloadable program, and it's free. It's funny that it's not there. I just Googled it the other day. Crazy. All right, Atomic Clock. Just remember that. I'll find it. Hold it. Got it. Okay. Atomic clock, worldtimeserver.com. Worldtimeserver.com. And then if you scroll down a little bit, Atomic Clock Sync, download. It is safe to download. I've downloaded it a million times. Okay. Oh, I probably put it in the members area. I forgot that I put it in the members area, Cliff. So anybody who's a member can go to the members area, thank you, and download it there. Okay. Otherwise, you can easily get it worldtimeserver.com. Worldtimeserver.com. It's much easier. It's even easier than using Dimension 4. People get confused with Dimension 4. So the 20-year bond auction, clicking on strategy, double clicking on JOBB version 9. I'm using a bracket of 3. It may hurt me to use a bracket of 3, but that's how I tested and found this trade. And that's what made me want to trade this trade. Targets of 2 and 6. I'm just trading 2 contracts. The stop is 3. Stop loss ticks is 3. So starting at the top, you just slide down. You don't have to change anything until you get to bracket. Bracket should be 3. Nothing else needs to be changed until you go to position 1. That tells you how many contracts I'm trading for target 1. Position 2, how many contracts I'm trading for target 2. So I'm going for 2 ticks on profit target 1, 6 ticks on profit target 2. My stop is 3. 90-second cancel. Okay. 90-second cancel. I use a 3-tick bracket. Entry time, activation, same thing. They mean the same. Entry and activation. 13, this is Eastern time for me. 13:01:30. 13:01:30. Let me turn my recorder on. 13:01:30. We've got 10 minutes till the auction. Just turning on the recorder. So then I scroll down. I put in my target. Profit target 1 is 2. Profit target 2 is 6. My entry time, Eastern time, 13:01:30. That's 1:01:30. You have to use military time. I'm trading it for real, so I changed my account to my real account. And then I like to label, as you know, I like to label all my trades, first with the instrument, and then the name of the report. 20-year. That's all I have to do. You can, if you wanted to, enable the trade inside the software. I prefer to not do that. I'll tell you why. I apply it and I okay it. If you apply it and okay it, it puts the software in your control panel, okay? But it gives me an opportunity to change my charts to live, because what if I set up something wrong? For instance, my time is wrong. I enable it inside the software. I haven't even changed my charts. Maybe it'll accidentally trigger a trade if I do something wrong in the setup by accident. So I'd rather give myself an extra level of security, okay? An extra level of security by enabling the trade on the control panel. And you have to have your tab on strategies, or you won't see the strategy. Where does what label show up? Mark, what label? So now my trade is enabled and my charts are on live. It shows up in the control panel right here. The field is in the strategy. It says label, and you can name it. And it shows up, the name of the strategy is the label. It shows up right here, the label that I give it. Right-click the chart, look at strategy, go back and highlight it. When I'm scrolling down on a live chart, I want to make sure I'm not anywhere where I can accidentally click a trade to be turned on. Label under setup. Whatever you type under label shows up in the control panel under strategy. Don't forget to re-enable your trade. It's a nice little thing, especially because NinjaTrader 8 lets you trade multiple instruments. In other words, I could set up a live trade for the ZN if I wanted to. I could set up 2 trades at once on 2 charts. I could set up more if I just put more charts on the screen or on a different monitor. So if you have 2 trades going at once, you want to be able to differentiate between them by having a label. It's just convenience. Because what if you decide you want to cancel one of the trades? Like this is 90 seconds. This theoretical cancel is 90 seconds. What if you really want to cancel it and you have 2 trades up there? You got to make sure you don't want to, sometimes you might have another trade that you don't want to cancel, right? So you don't want to cancel the wrong trade. That's why the label's so great. And I am a time nut. I'm always checking my time just because I like to. So time.is, right? And it tells me my time is exact. When I go to the website time.is, it likes my computer. I know, of course, that there are ways to sync your machine using Windows Time Sync. Okay? I know that. There are ways that you can do that. But Windows Time Sync, it's full of errors. It'll say it's trying to sync, it'll give you an error. It's just a pain. So it's nice that we were able to find alternative methods of syncing, okay? So all it is an alternative method of putting your computer in sync. Now on this particular trade, it's not as critical as it is on CPI or GDP or Australia jobs or the oil report. Those trades, you know, if you're 2 seconds late, you might miss the whole trade. This trade, you see that it takes time to fill, right? You look at a video, you go to 13:01:30, my orders are on the chart, and we're waiting for the news to come out, waiting for a reaction, okay? So time sync, not as much critical importance in these bond auctions, because the bond auctions, they're not they're not instantaneous like other trades are. So, but time, I still just like to do the same things over and over and over to create good habits, good trading habits. It's like, you know, they always use the term muscle memory, whatever you want to call it. I call it good habits. Doing the same things over and over. If you're in a, if you know, if you're trading and trading makes you really nervous, one of the things that helps is by doing the same things over and over and over. It's relaxing. It makes you less nervous. It makes you have a sense of continuity that helps you to just be less worried. Because everybody worries when they trade real money. It is what it is. It's real money. It makes you don't want to lose any, right? Nobody wants to lose money. So it makes you nervous to put it at risk. It's just normal human behavior. So you want to try to find ways to make your normal human behavior as relaxed as possible. Some people just have DNA of steel, they're just made of steel and nothing bothers them. I'm more like the regular person. Sometimes my heart is in my chest when I'm in a trade. Certain trades, I can literally hear my heart beating in my chest. Like the WASD report does that to me. Certain reports just do it. The jobs report always did that to me. The US jobs report always made me nervous. And it's not necessarily even justified. It's just certain trades, certain trades are a little trickier to trade. They really require the utmost in concentration. Although really all trades require concentration. But some trades are so nerve-wracking. It's it's really something. I can't explain why. I really can't explain why some of them. Well, maybe I can explain it. WASD, because the cancellation is real tricky. I don't cancel it. I just don't cancel WASD. And I've seen it go through months where it fills really slowly. And then we've seen lately it's been filling really fast. So sometimes we see a lot of movement before the trade, also before the news comes out. Maybe it's because I can't see the news on the WASD report. I'm not really sure why the WASD is one of the reports that make me nervous. So we got 15, 18 seconds. No, I always early on this trade, 13:01:30. 13:01:30. We have another minute. Don't forget, I am listening to Financial Juice Pro in the background. Pro gives you the news squawk box, not delayed. Nothing is delayed on Pro. Sometimes when you look at news or you look at a website that has a paid version and a free version, sometimes the paid version is not delayed, and sometimes the free version is. ZN on the right, ZB on the left. Orders are going to show up now. It's a theoretical 90-second cancel. And that's because we've seen sometimes very slow responses to this trade, to this report. So I don't see any news yet. The news is out. I moved my stop to break even, and I moved my target up because I didn't feel like it was going to move any further. So I took a profit of 187.50, 187.50 on two contracts. Um, Another family trade winner. Is anybody unhappy that they signed up as a family trade trader? YouTube, I want every person on the stream to give me a like, please. I made $187 in 1 to 5 seconds. Could everybody give me a like on YouTube? I want to see some likes. Now, Eric, can you tell me what happened to you?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, what happened to you?
Well, first of all, I want to say
What
hello,
you
everyone, and I
what
hope.
you're doing too, like why you're here.
Yeah, yeah, I will. Yeah, so I'm Eric Spiker, one of the co-founders, and I made money, Lee. So,
All
and I
right.
actually I put myself in the chat, so I'm not gonna just come on whenever I made money, right? So I'm always as transparent as it is. So for everyone, just I want to make sure everyone got out of the trade. Whoever took it live, make sure you're focusing on your own charts. That's the most important thing that we care about is our members making money. I traded the DMM exactly as it was prescribed. Okay, just to share with folks, because it's not about how much money you make. The things that we always like to do in the debrief is what were your settings. We want to figure out how did everyone, what did you adjust. So I did a two positions. I used a bracket of two, a target of two, and a target of six, and I earned $281.25 on two
Very nice.
contracts. All right. So I'll tell you something, guys. This is my first time ever trading this report. When I used to trade more frequently, the bond auctions that I'm familiar with are the 10-year and the 30-year. And this is actually to Lee's point about, aren't you glad about joining our service? Well, this is one of the services that my other partner, Jay, really does a lot of legwork behind the scenes. And of course, Lee and Chantal, and we do have a bigger team now. And this is a newer report. I think it's like 1 year. So that's my quick debrief, and now I want to just want to look at the chat, and I want to see if anyone has any questions, and I also want to get a roll call going on everyone's trades. So Mark traded light, made $62.50, and that's a good attitude, Mark. You'll take it, right? What's your motto, Lee, when it comes to the green?
Say that again. What's my
No, I'm saying, don't you have a thing that you say about taking the green? About like whether it's a small winner, as long as it's a winner. You know what I
I'm
mean?
not going to go cry in the corner if it, no matter what, actually. Is that what you're talking
Okay.
about?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just forgot. So
Oh,
Robert, congratulations. Robert S. made $153 on one contract,
and
made
that's great.
five ticks.
Robert's new. Robert's very new, so
Yeah,
that's awesome.
tell me if you're new. Like, I want to know. This is my first live trade. This is my third live trade. Give me some. I don't really. I don't know. I know. I see Eric Cal, and I don't know if you know who that is.
Yeah, Calvin's been here forever. Calvin's a legacy. Calvin's a legacy.
Hey, Calvin. Hopefully you remember me too. $93.75 live in one contract. And for folks on YouTube as well, yeah, definitely to Lee's point, spread some love, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
we want more likes. There's not enough. I want more.
John B, thanks for class specifying Sim 250. So, so it looks to me like everybody made money, and I really want, for me, when I look back, Lee was talking about getting anxious about when it comes to trading, right? And he's right on about it. The stuff that we're doing now, it's not that it's so hard, but just like anything, you're gonna get less nervous by practicing and being, number one, being familiar with the NinjaTrader platform, how to exit a trade, knowing the functionality of our software. Now I'm hoping I have a video to show you, Lee, and let's go over Phil's. Why
Yeah,
don't
I
we
do.
do that? Because
I do.
last night, I was doing some recording, and I hope I chose the right screen, but I could share a screenshot for sure. You know what I love about this, everyone, and hopefully for the newer members are really appreciating this, is that the skill set that we're doing, it's amazing. Look how much we're talking right now, and this whole prepping. But we were in the market for how many seconds? What was it, like a couple seconds, right? It was a bread. This was a bread and butter for me, by the way. I didn't have to move my targets. So, how about for other folks? Did anybody who made money? Did you have to manually move your targets, or did you get filled automatically on your targets like I did? And that's what we call a bread and butter.
While you're waiting, Craig was asking, he can't turn on the strategy. So let me show him how to do it. So Craig, real quick, and I'm doing it in sim, Craig, because I don't want the trade to trigger. When you set up the trade, Craig, so if I set the trade up, which I can do really fast, okay, it was a bracket of 3, it was 2 targets of 2 and 6, and it doesn't even matter, okay? I'm just going to okay the trade so it shows up in the control panel, and then this enabled box at the end of your control panel, make sure that your charts are on live if you're trading live, sim if you're trading sim, and click that box and you'll see your JOBB icon, and then your strategy will be enabled. And I'm assuming also that you sent us your machine ID to get it authorized, okay? So that should help you. All right? So we're getting our roll, we're getting a couple of people use the 3-tick bracket. Mark saying he got stopped at break even on position 2. Robert didn't move targets or stop. And that's as I was saying before, that's a very, very personal choice where and how you want to protect or not protect profit. That is definitely a key factor in profit size with trades, with all trades.
So Lee, on fills, let's comment on the fills because I have my fills, and good news, everyone, I do have a video. Problem is that I'm on the chat room on my another laptop, and then I have my trading computer, so I can't easily just share my screen, but I'll figure out how to do that for the next time. I did share with you a screenshot, Lee, that you could share with everyone if you'd like to.
Did you email it?
Yes, I did.
Oh,
I did
shoot.
email you.
Hey, Eric,
No
I
worries.
have an
You
emergency.
can
Can
mute.
you?
Yeah,
Okay.
mute yourself. I'll take over. And I want to apologize for any new folks that don't know me. I think I was on a webinar, a trade room last week, and Lee and I was talking over Lee, and it was a little out of control. But really, I just didn't know the trap trade well enough, and I wanted to help others who take the trade. So my short entry, the first one was 163.20. Both my short entries were 163.20. And does that make sense? Because yeah, how could that? So Weldon got 163.16. Can everyone just? I want to know everyone's fills if you're for those who traded live. I guess that makes sense. I was assuming that we'd be only a tick away, but it looks like we're 4 ticks away. Okay. One of the things I want to ask Lee, which I honestly never really understood, like the 20-year bond auction. Like you see, one of the things that we always like to do is understand why is it that the bonds moved a certain way, or any news event. And usually it's easy to tell. For example, if it's positive news or negative news, the instruments that we trade, for example, bonds, will behave a certain way. So stay with me for a second, right? So that's just a principle that I want everyone to make sure that they understand. So when we trade US news, for example, and we trade gold, when there's certain economic reports that are showing that the economy is healthy, gold has an inverse relationship where when the news is good, gold will actually go down. Not all the time, but that's kind of the high level macro principles. So with me, so and I know we have members here who may even be way more knowledgeable
Sorry about
than
that.
me.
I'm back.
No, Lee, now you're talking over me.
No, I know. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just want to let you know
No,
I'm
no,
here.
no, no. I'm just kidding. And I just apologized to everyone for last week or the trap trade where I was kind of a mumbo jumbo.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a little hectic. But my short entries, I shared my screenshot. Would you mind pulling that up and then let's go over my trade? Oh,
Did you
actually,
email it to me?
yeah, your AOL one.
Okay.
Okay. The most important thing, guys, from today, it's never like, oh, let's celebrate. What's most important is always understanding what happened, why it happened, and then any mistakes. And then one of the things, like right now, we're all out of the trade, great. But if you want to get to the next level is also then studying the after event behavior to see if there's any reversals, etc. So Lee, you got my
Here's your
trade up there.
screenshot. Yep.
Yep, yep. So my entries were 163.20, and it looked like that's different than Weldon and some and Robert. Is that weird? It,
Let me see. Robert, 163.16. Wait a minute. Short entry at 20. It's hard to believe that the entry was 16, Robert. So make sure that's your entry and not your profit target. I think that's your
ye-
target.
oh, maybe. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Because where was I filled? I got filled at
Sure.
16 also.
Yeah. So we have new members here, and for folks that are not familiar with, oh no, Weldon saying no, he got filled at 16.
Wow.
Well, actually, you got filled at 16 too,
Wait a
actually.
minute.
Or
Wait, let me see. No, I apologize. I was filled at 16.
yeah.
So where were
So
you
what's the
filled?
difference at 20?
How could you have been filled at 2060? Short entry. I mean, that's what it says, 163.20.
It says 20, so I got a really good fill,
Yeah.
actually. I got an excellent fill, guys. Maybe I don't need to upgrade my trading machine after all.
I don't I don't even know. I want to look at the video and
So I
see
am,
what the time was.
and what data feed am I using, Lee? I'm on
CQG.
CQG.
You're on CQG. Same as me. So here's the video.
Hold on, John B also had the same fill as me. Right, John? He also got 163.20. And John, where are you located? Are you on the East Coast? Yeah, so
That was a tremendous fill. Tremendous fill.
hold on. I think one of the obvious differences is that I had a 2 tick bracket distance, 2 tick, and you used 3. So my
I used
question
three,
to
but go ahead.
yeah, no. So I think that kind of explains, and even actually, yeah, because Robert had a bracket of 3, and he got filled at a 163.16. So that explains it. The 2 tick bracket distance actually helped to get a better fill.
Yeah,
And for
it did
folks,
work better today.
yeah, folks, give me some feedback. Am I making sense here? Is that what you're seeing too? Understand what the logic I'm saying is that the folks that had a 2 tick bracket distance, I think that's kind of, and that's fine, because that's really what I'm trying to do behind the scenes. Just back on the transparency. I'm always going to try to do not try to do something different, but I'm going to try to. Our job is to do testing for you guys. You with me? So we always want to explore like slightly different setups when necessary, not all the time. So behind the scenes, if I saw the DMM, I want to go for the 2 tick. Yeah. So, Lee, question for you, and I don't want to drag this trade room longer than it needs to be,
Yeah.
and I want to respect everyone's time. So, if anyone wants to go, I just want to say congratulations to all our winners. There's one lesson for today: the 20-year bond auctions. I never figured out how to really interpret the news results. Did you ever figure out the bonds? What does the squawk box tell you? Like, and what, in other words, when the data comes out, like, how do we know that the fact that I'm looking at economic calendar that it came in at 1.89%, which is lower than
Expected,
like,
right?
do you know where I'm going, Lee?
Yeah, I have no idea. I've never paid attention to the news on these trades only because I've been trading them for years and they either respond or they don't. Usually I don't trade a reversal on them because they don't always move. Sometimes they're so dull that there's nothing to reverse. my experience with these bond trades is when they do what they did today, you always have a good trade. Otherwise, it's dull, regardless of what the news is, unless they say on the Squawk Box that it's something really unusual, that it was really unexpected. Then you have a secondary trade usually on this type of this
That's
particular
fine.
article.
That's
But
fine, Lee. And
but honestly, I don't know enough about bonds to tell you. So what I'm going to do is while I'm checking, I'm just going to look real quick. And maybe, if I didn't have, I'm not making excuses. I just never did it. That's the truth
no, it's
on this
okay. And I'm not
particular
putting
trade.
you on the spot, and
No, I
I'm not
don't mind a
embarrassed.
bit.
I'm not
I'm not
embarrassed by it.
embarrassed at all. Yep.
You know why? Because of the pot. Because the thing is, it didn't even matter.
That's my
Even if
whole
you could.
point. It never did.
Well, not in general, but I'm talking about for this like the way this behaved. You definitely for other reports, and I know you know all the the jobs report and
Absolutely. The bonds are the
but
only reaction I really don't know.
and the WASD, I would say like the
Yeah,
corn one
Mosby,
too,
we
right?
don't see it. Exactly. Now,
Yeah,
there
those
must
two.
be
Yeah,
somebody in the room who's a bond expert who could tell
correct.
us right now what the 1.89%, it's obviously an interest rate, right? So
I'll find out. I'll
it's
find out.
lower, and the bond went lower. So what's the relationship? Somebody must
Well,
know.
well, Lee, that's that's a good way to look about it. No, I'll find out. My
Here it
background, guys, for
is.
those that don't know my background. Oh, you got it.
Well, it says it's the yield on the treasury bonds auctioned. Okay. So the yield 10 up to 30 years, but it doesn't really tell you that much more than that. It's the
Gotcha.
amount they spend to refinance existing debt. So the yield's lower, right? I honestly would have to do more research, rather than make something up here. I'd rather
No
do the
worries.
research and tell
No
the
worries.
truth.
No worries. No worries. I had a great time coming in, and in the future, I'll check in. But like I liked the way that we did it, Lee, today. I kind of let you do your thing, and I want to come in after the trade. I don't want to. I want to make sure everyone's focusing the trade. Any questions for Lee or myself? What makes me so happy? It's not a. It's yes, we made money and everyone made money, but it just like it's amazing. I'm sure we all do different things, and this is such a nice tool to have on your tool belt of um, ways of making some additional income. The amount of time that you could to dedicate to learn the skill set, and then you see that we're able to show you right here $187, and then myself 280. So all in between our two accounts, around $500. um, this is what it's all about. And for those of you who are on your lunch break trading or wherever, it's like, okay, shut off the computer or shut off your Ninja Trader platform and go back to work. Now, Lee, can I just say one last exciting thing?
Yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
exploring. Remember, like a lot of us, I'm sure now with cryptos and all that stuff, mobile. There's a lot of trading now on smartphones. I researched yet last night, Lee, and I didn't tell you this yet. A way which obviously I wouldn't recommend. A very easy app that you can install and then be able to um, essentially um, have your computer like show up on your phone. I'll share that with you later on, but that's something I'm exploring as well. Just because I know that there's certain times when you get into this where like you just can't help yourself. You're not in front of the computer, but you want to trade, and so there is a method of doing that. But for now, I just want to say congrats to everyone, and yeah, another family money trade. And thanks to all of our YouTube people. I hope Chantal, I'm not keeping you overtime.
Okay, so AJ had a couple of questions, and so
Go
did
for it.
someone on YouTube. Same
You
question.
got it, Lee.
So, okay, Eric, I'll see you later.
Goodbye, everyone. It's your show, Lee, and I'll see you next time, everybody.
Okay. So thank you, Eric, for making me look really dumb about bonds, everybody. I know nothing about bonds. I just know how I'm going to trade them, but it's okay. He didn't mean to make me look dumb. It's okay. Seriously, folks. So, Al, I'll answer your question in a second. AJ, so the USDA.gov, USDA.gov. Oh, I'm answering the question wrong. Investing.com lists the 20-year trade. Investing.com does list the 20-year trade in their calendar. FX Street lists it also. And I thought that Forex Factory, maybe they didn't have it. Maybe they didn't have it. That's okay. Anybody that's on YouTube that's a member, you should absolutely be in the trade room, not streaming on YouTube, because it's delayed on YouTube and you don't want to trade on YouTube. Okay? YouTube is a free stream. It's delayed. All right? And two people asked, how did I know to move my target, or why did I move my target? So I'll say two things about moving my target. Number one, sometimes I'm very impatient and I move my target prematurely. In this case, I know that I'm using a slightly bigger bracket than a dull trade will succeed with. Okay? Now, I would not call this dull by any shape of the imagination. It was not a dull trade. But just based on how many of these reports I've traded, the response that the index made after the fill just made me feel that it wasn't going to be a very much bigger move than we were getting. So I was preparing to move my target for the maximum profit. It might have, and in my case, if you look at where I was filled, which is where my cursor is, I made the right decision because it only went barely a tick further, okay? It only went one tick further for me. So that was the right move. And the only thing I could say, AJ, is when I was taught to trade initially, I was always taught protect your target. Protect your profit if your first target hits profit. I sometimes am too conservative in protecting my profit because sometimes, and there's no magic answer, sometimes if you just leave your stop alone, you'll have a better profit. Sometimes. Sometimes you'll get stopped out and lose all your money. But I was taught to always protect profit if my first target is hit. So my gut reaction that I have to fight is not to protect the target. But I'm not always just randomly not thinking and just doing everything the exact same way. I've watched so many of these bond trades, it just had the feel of a trade that was done with the move. And that's why I was thinking of getting out. And I'm not always right. Okay? I'm not always
it's me
right.
again.
Yeah.
I didn't leave. Yeah,
That's
listen,
right.
don't leave, everyone. I actually took the liberty. I made the video. Let me show everyone my video before you end the room.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. I was surprised I was able to cut this.
Do you know how to share it?
No. I'm sending you an MP4. I already
Oh,
made it. So, like,
okay.
it's not
Okay.
big. It's not big. It's a 20-second video.
Let me know when you send it.
All right. Any other questions while we show
Yeah,
the
I was
video? And
just
then
telling people that are on YouTube when they should be in our trade room. Members should not go to YouTube because it's much slower.
Yeah, and you're also missing out. We have such a great attendance right now, and our so many new members, and the chat is so. I mean,
Here's your
it's
video
like,
now.
oh wow, that was fast. All right, you go ahead.
Let me
You
slow it
narrate.
down. Let me slow it down for a second. It's going so fast. Okay. So there's your brackets, right?
Yep.
Your brackets, they're wide apart. And your video is so fast, I'm just going to manually move it forward. So the fill, there's your fill, right? You got filled at 20. And boom, it just hit your targets.
Yeah, it played real time, and this is why you could tell there's emotion when I'm talking about why I love this stuff, because this is it. I mean, how easy is that? Look at that, bada bing,
Your
bada boom.
trade
That's
was
called
so much faster than mine.
bread and butter trade over here. Yeah, and
Yep.
I again remember 2 tick, 3 tick. There was a
Exactly.
difference there. Yeah. So in other words, if you are not able to be part of the trade room today, and you had a DMM that showed up to you, and you didn't have the best internet, you didn't want to come in the trade room, although we always say you should come to the trade room. You just took exactly what was prescribed in our DMM. And again, I have to be careful here because we have folks don't know, especially on YouTube, right? That everything's for educational purposes, right?
Correct.
I think Leo, that. So assuming you took that, you followed exactly the DMM to the T, and this is the outcome. So I'm very proud of the fact that we got the settings like spot on. I mean, if you look, there were maybe it's like another like, tick or two on the table. Trust me, any day of the week, I'd much rather be in a position where I didn't have to move my mouse and get out than worrying about an extra tick or two. You with me, Lee?
Yeah, and it's interesting if you think about it. Now, very honestly, there's not always a wrong or a right when you're taking a setup. In other words, as a trader, you have the right to do whatever you want to do on the setup because it's your money. And I was explaining, Eric, before you got here, I found this trade. In other words, I gave it to Jay, and my all my testing was a 3 tick bracket. That doesn't mean that he's wrong by choosing a 2 tick bracket. It means that his analysis says that a 2 tick bracket is safe. But I'm looking for the bigger move, preferably on these bond trades. I know I'm going to get a profit if I get a decent move like today, and I know I'm going to be dull and unhappy if I use a 2 tick, or if I get filled on the wrong side or filled too early. I'm going to be way more aggravated than leaving a tick on the table. You know what I mean? So for me, I tested this trade as a 3 tick. I'm going to do it as a 3 tick because that's what worked for me when I found it. I still will be open to going to 2 ticks when the market gets calmer, which it isn't. And before this trade, the market was pretty active, and I felt there was no way I would do a 2 tick trade, especially what happened with the bond, the 30-year bond last week. I
Oh,
feel it was almost filled early with a three
right.
tick bracket, even with the correct
Yeah.
bracket size.
Yeah, and and just on that note, and then I'm gonna leave again for real this time. Yeah, the point you can never, no one ever is right or wrong on any report. In fact, if you know Jay Style, one of our best reports, the jobs report, 2 years, back in 2013, that was a report that traded flawlessly for 2 years. Okay, think
And
about
didn't
that.
you used to
And
trade it on oil?
we did, but until he presented it on bonds, etc., like we had it, for 2 years. So there's never this time around it worked. You're right, wrong. You know what I mean? We're always looking at the bigger picture, the long term picture. You know what I mean? And bottom line, this conversation may be a little differently if ended up being that people who had 3 tick brackets got stopped out, and even
Absolutely.
then, and even then, you would still say you couldn't say on that one report. But the bottom line is that everyone made money, and for those of you who did the 3 tick bracket thing distance, it's good because it forced you to practice another skill set. And what skill set was that? Well, you saw it live in action. It forced you to be ready on your toes, get out of the trade, move your targets. For those of you who did the 2 bracket distance, okay, this time great, you're able to get out bread and butter. But it's not always going to be like that, and that's what happens. You have members sometimes that come in, they get too comfortable, too relaxed because everything's working in their favor. But markets are always going to change, and we're always practicing and honing in on those skill sets so that we're ready for the next trade. And believe me, you can master this. This isn't. There are probably a good dozen of different like behavioral reactions. I don't know if I would say a dozen, but there are some patterns. And if you come in day out, I mean 6 months, you're going to be already a pretty well experienced. So on that note, I am going to leave, and I'll let you close up the room when you want. But thanks for queuing up the video, and see you next time, everyone, on my end.
Okay. See you later. Okay, everybody. So I just want to make clear, any last questions? Did everybody get all their questions answered? Everybody get all their questions answered? Al, the oil trade was phenomenal yesterday. Um, it was a winner. I don't think anybody had a losing trade that traded live. AJ is asking time.is. It shows your clock is off. So how can you force the sync? AJ, go to worldtimeserver.com, worldtimeserver.com, okay, and download the Atomic Clock free utility, worldtimeserver.com. It's better, it's even better than Dimension 4, which is in our trade room file folder. Okay, it's free. Scroll down. And if you go to the right place, let me just make sure. Sometimes I've never seen this not go to the right place like it's been doing all day today. So when I found it, I'd swear I found it. It was absolutely worldtimeserver.com, atomic clock. I found it by just typing in atomic clock. If you can't find it, send me an email, help@10minutetrades.com, and I'll send it to you. I have it. If when you Google it, you cannot find it. Let me see if I can find it. Program. Here it is. Okay, atomicclock.sync, and it's free. Free. I would rather get it. Send me an email, okay? Send me an email. Send me an email. I'll send it to you. Or I'm just looking in the wrong place. Someone's saying look in widgets and tools. Okay. Worldtimeserver.com. Try looking in widgets and tools. But it's, let's see, maybe I'm not in home. World clock. Nope. Get rid of that. It's so crazy. I was just on World Time Server before, and I didn't have to go anywhere different. So I'll send it to you if you can't find it. Okay. In our trade room, on our trade room file folder, there's a program called Dimension 4, D4 Time, and that also is a program that if you download and install it, it will put your computer in sync. It'll put your computer in sync so that you can then go check it by going back to the website, time.is, okay? You can go back to the website, time.is, all right? And you can then double check that you're in sync. Okay, folks, our next trade room event is tomorrow. So trading's been a little bit scary. You know why it's been scary? 380, Al. I made 380 yesterday. The reason trading's been scary is because everything is working. It just keeps working and working and working. Of course, yes, there's a few stop trades, but trading's been fantastic. It's just been fantastic. And I'm not taking credit for that. I think that we're also going through a really good trading cycle. So if you have the ability to trade live, take advantage of it. Don't be afraid, but make sure you know how to do it. If you don't know how to do it, wait and do it right. There will always be another good cycle. Always. There's always cycles, good, bad, medium. So if you can't take advantage of it, don't panic. Don't worry. There will be another. Okay? There will be another. Tomorrow we'll be in the room. I'll be here at 9:30 for existing homes and natural gas. Okay? Existing homes, natural gas. So that's our next event tomorrow. So I'll see everybody tomorrow. Okay? Any other questions? I'm happy to answer. I don't see any. You're welcome, Al. If not, nice trading, everybody. It's so awesome to have so many good trades. It's awesome. Okay. I'll see everybody later. You're welcome, Cliff. Thanks. See you tomorrow morning. Take care, folks.